We were saying LeBron would be next.
It would be amazing, but would he do it? I mean, it's really...
You got to have you got to be pretty secure to go up there
delusional.
and let people do what Tom let people do to him.
Yeah, I think there was a part of Tom...
I mean, that was rough.
It was insane
that was pretty
he did
rough.
It was awesome that he did it.
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
if
very
in
cool.
hindsight if he would have done it, knowing what he knows now.
He is in Italy.
Oh.
John is on a hot
Seeing
streak.
Taylor Swift?
No.
Oh.
Is she there, though, right now?
She might be, yeah. Coming up.
I wouldn't be surprised if he blows a bag to go see Taylor Swift then.
Yeah.
He is,
on vacation?
I think, about to become a
father?
No. No. Please, God. No. A model. A fashion model.
Really?
This company, Del Toro, who makes like Italian leather like loafers, and I think they do clothes as well, but they're mostly shoes. He's like linked up with them. This is the second time they've flown him out to Italy to do like fashion shit.
What gay man wants to fuck him? What?
No, John is very John. So we went to Amsterdam with Bert.
Yeah.
Did you see that whole thing?
Yeah.
Right. And we were told by Bert it was the Chinese New Year, and the color is red. So you have to wear something red. Mm-hmm. We went all out because this was like this crazy invitation. Everyone else was wearing like a red T-shirt. Mm-hmm. I got like a red suit, and John wore this red onesie. I don't even know how. It was like a disco onesie, zipped up, bell bottoms, big collar, bright red, and it ended up on Ralph Lauren's mood board for 2024.
What?
Somebody
Fashion
called us.
Icon?
They were like, I work for Ralph Lauren, and we are doing like our what's next, and there was a fucking picture of that up there.
And so he got flown out to be a model. He
right
does
there.
look. Oh my
Right?
God, he does look so.
That picture was like he had the long jacket over. And what's really
fashion.
funny is obviously the rest of that trip was like a shit show. So every other picture from Amsterdam,
is
we
stained.
looked fat, we looked gross. He looked awesome in that one. He's got a cigarette too. You can't see it there. He looks like very cool.
Yeah, that's like
always
that's a
pulls
side
it
of
off.
himself he's been, I can see
It's the one thing he's confident about in
that's
himself.
Great.
He hates
needs
everything else about
something.
himself, but he knows that he dresses well.
So you gotta have one thing. Do you have one thing?
Probably not.
There's got to be one thing that you're like, I got, like, this is. Think about it. The kind of father you are, maybe.
I'm a good father. Yeah.
Like
that's like a lame answer, though.
No, it's not. Like, I sometimes feel that way about, because you can, there's a lot of bad dads out there, but like, I always feel like when I'm comparing myself to people, I'm like,
bar.
Some people in the business, I'm always like, but they don't have as good of friends as I have. Like, I have really good,
friends.
I have great friends. Like, I'm like the Chappelle of making friends.
Okay.
So
You're
like I'll never like I look at Dave Chappelle and I'm like, God, that's just you can't even touch that kind of talent in terms of stand up. But I'm like, but I can't even say that because Dave Chappelle has some great friends too. But I feel like there's I got to find other places where I'm like, okay, I'm good at this.
Well,
it's nice to have one or two things.
At this point, I feel like you are considered.
Thank you.
The king of roasting, the queen of roasting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll take it.
I think that's a great.
It's that that
accolade to have. I mean,
think it's a great
roasts like kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit. They were like, so popular and then they died down. But then this one, I think, is gonna renew it all. And you were like the standout.
And I'm trying to figure out what that like actually means because it's not something I do all the time. Yeah, like I think so, but like they don't occur often. They're like Olympics. Like they occur enough that like you could.
But they used to not, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, they used to be a little bit like once every 2
like,
years. Yeah, and this one
even
is
that it was that like
I
that
think
far
it was like
apart?
a year and a half. Sometimes, yeah. But
I thought those were like almost a couple times a year.
No, once a year at most. And then I think I've thought about it a lot over this week because I keep getting that moniker of like you're the queen of roasting and like what does it mean? It just means I am really good at working hard and
you know what I think it means too? I think you're very observant.
Yeah.
Because I think it takes, you have to like think about the other person and put yourself in their, you know what I mean? To
well,
figure
you got to
out
think
the
about
right
the audience
angles.
too. You got to think about what the audience knows about this person.
Right.
You also have to communicate what you actually feel about this person, which I think is an important thing. Like I think in roasts in the past, I've just been like, whatever the best joke is, just say the harshest, most crazy joke because I looked up to Geraldo and he's just like rapid fire, like he's injecting his own personality into it, but not in the way that I chose to. I didn't even mean to, but I think on this roast when I watched it back, like you can see me being like, I'm sorry, like, and kind of like laughing along with it. And I'm like, okay, there's where I'm coming into it. Like, I can still have the harsh jokes, but like, I actually do feel bad. And I think I communicated through it that I'm a nice person with like sick jokes. And I think that's who I am. It's at my core. I'm an empathetic, kind person who's not like just a
sick fuck.
Mean bitch. And like trying to hurt people. Like, I really don't like that at all.
That's never the intent. I feel like people know that.
Yeah,
you know?
But sometimes I look back on some stuff I've said and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
From roast specifically or just in general?
Yeah, just like some clips that have appeared. And I never watched my clips, but I think I've had enough distance from some of the roasts that I'm like, oh, this is like a different person, so I can watch it.
Well, you were a different person.
Totally.
Yeah. I mean, that's how many years ago now, so it's like...
Yeah.
You would hope that your comedy and you yourself have evolved.
Yeah, you would hope. But I sometimes look at my life and I'm like, I haven't changed fucking at all. Like,
no, that's not true.
Kind of like I maybe looks wise gotten different looking, but like just the way I live, the things I eat, the things I like, the things my bad habits, like all of it's still spot on from 10 years ago.
Tiger can't change the stripes, you know what I mean? Like
some things I want it to though. Like I want to be.
I want new stripes so desperately.
God,
but
I was on a flight yesterday and Hannah Einbinder, from Hacks.
Oh yeah.
Was on it, and I was going up to the front to ask for a Diet Coke. I had just woken up from like the most disgusting sleep, like drool, like back pain, like making like noises, and my eye mask is like up here on my eyes, and my hair is like poofed up from it pushing up, and it's like just scraggly. I looked disgusting, and I see her exit from the the front of the plane. She's just gone up there to ask for something, and she's like clutching that's why I got hot tea today, because I'm trying to be like someone that I'm not, like. And she had like a sweater on that was like over her,
looked all cute and shit,
like it was it went down to here, and she was just like walking back, like sipping it. And the flight attendant was like, oh, and like so sweet, and like you could just tell they had this amazing rapport, and she just looked so cozy, like she was walking out on the dock of like to watch the sunrise at like an exclusive resort. She just looked so amazing, and I was just like, can I get a Diet Coke? And I like chugged it there, like, and I was just like, that's the difference between us, and I want to be that other girl, and I can present that way sometimes with enough help.
What are you talking about?
But I'm just
so
like,
fucking crazy. You're so crazy to think that girl, the way she was getting her tea on an airplane,
looked graceful and delicate and beautiful and just like confident, and I just seemed like a mess. I'm wearing like 4 different pairs of Taylor Swift merchandise. None of it matches. It all has like hummus stains on it. Like I just am like, that's the kind of person that's like who I am, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that's just like you can't.
But that to me,
those are my stripes.
I think it's a very fine line between evolving and growing and like selling out and changing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you still want to. I take pride in the fact that I feel like I am pretty much the same person doing this.
Yes.
Viewpoints have changed, and some of the things I've gone back on, I'm like, that was wrong, or that wasn't funny.
Yeah.
But I'm still like...
the way you treat people.
Yeah, well, definitely that. But even just the way, like, I'm still spitting out brash opinions and taking one side and arguing and fighting and being great. Like, that's just how I do this shit.
Yes.
And I'm at the point where it's like, oh, this is exhausting, but it's just like how...
But that's how you do it. Yes.
Yeah, it's just the only way I don't know how to like there are things where I'm like, I don't have to take such a strong stance here against this thing, and I could just middle it and be like, it's pretty good, but it's pretty bad, and put it out there and let the internet...
feel the pressure too, though, to keep up with what you've done in the past, and like maybe there will be people that say you're softening, and so you have...
No, it's not that. It's more like I can't do that. Like I will feel like a sellout if I'm like, if I hate something, and I'm like, I usually put out a video being like, fuck this.
Yeah.
And if I were to go like, well, but I can understand where some people like it, I would like die.
That's interesting.
Which is, I think, totally childish and stupid. And as I'm getting older, I'm so sick of like having people like fighting people on the internet and having so many people that hate me.
Yeah.
That I'm like, maybe it would be better for like my mental health to just fucking be like, here's the story.
But it would also be
you
covering a part of yourself. And I think I feel the opposite. I feel like as I get older, I am more tapping into like how I just feel about something. Like stop trying to make it what people want to hear. Like, stop trying to be a comedian that you're like, that who you admire or emulating someone. And like, when I just am myself and I tap into like what is funny about me, even though it's not even close to as funny as I wish I were, but like, it's always going to be easier just to see like, how do I really feel about this thing? Or I feel like, and I feel that my depression, which is like the thing that holds me back more than anything in life, is like the self-doubt and depression only really comes on when I have to be fake. In any way.
Right, when you're being genuine and doing something you like or where you're comfortable.
When if I have to just be too nice to someone, it's not even about being nice, because I feel like I'm a nice person even if I don't want to be, because I'm just polite. But when I'm being nice to someone because I like want them to like me, or like maybe they have something that they can give me, which we all are guilty of. But I feel like with this little pop I've had from the roast, and suddenly those kind of tables have turned, where those people that I maybe used to have to be like nice to and I didn't really like them, now they want to be friends with me, and it feels nice to be like, I don't have to be nice to you. I don't have to act like what you say is interesting or be,
because you want me now.
Because I'm in a position of power where I don't need you anymore. But it's not even about like finally you came around. Like I literally was only being nice to you because I felt like you had you were like an gatekeeping something from me. And now I don't need you, and it's like it's nice to be able to let that go and not be a dick, but just not. Because those are the times where I feel depressed after a night of like kissing someone's ass or being locked into a conversation where I'm like, Nikki, you didn't even like that person. Why were you talking to them? Because you thought maybe I don't even know. Like it can be just something that doesn't even exist that I've invented that they could give me or something, and it's not even concrete. Like I'm not even someone who really is like, oh, I can get this thing, and if I'm friends with this person, they'll put me on this thing. I
don't get that from you at all.
I really don't have that, but But I think it's just subconscious that we all want to be liked, and
totally.
You know.
But so you feel like this pop you got from this roast was like significant? Yeah. Wow, that's interesting.
It's insane.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I will never experience another pop like this unless I start dating Taylor Swift or something. Like, because it was. I mean, it was Super Bowl levels of watched. Like, it was almost like, and it was a cultural moment in terms of like, I mean, now we're like a week out from after it's aired, and it's starting to die down. But yesterday I was on a plane, like 3 people were watching it on a plane. Like, everyone watched it. Everyone was talking about it the next day, and it was just like, it was on every show covered it. It was just it was kind of like the MASH finale or whatever, like where we all like Americans don't all watch things together anymore.
Numbers like.
I mean, it's been number one for
I feel like it probably like 100 million Americans watched it. Like you said, like we all watched the Super Bowl, and so it felt like that to me. And I don't think that there's ever anything that, especially on a comedic level, where we like for comedians to pop in that way. Yeah, I was like, the last time a comedian was talked about as much as I was from this, like the amount of headlines, the amount of people singing my praises. Like, was Chris Rock getting slapped? Yeah, like was that much of a moment? It's controversy.
Yeah, it's controversy.
Not just like that was awesome.
Never.
Damn.
And like,
so wait.
It's impossible, and I didn't predict it. It was just really feels like I'm living a dream of like I didn't know it could be this, but it's the greatest thing that could ever happen in my career.
Wow,
ever.
I'm happy to hear that it you feel that way too, because
it's nuts.
So wait, did you know? Going in the level of like how many stars were going to be there and all that, because we like as we just hit up like obviously with Barstool, the Patriots in Boston, there's like a lot of connections. So John reached out to some guy and we got a couple tickets, and I was like, cool, I'll go, like whatever.
You were there?
No, what happened was we had the most like poorly planned trip to LA ever. It was like 2 dudes who don't. It's Jackie's fault. Okay. Because guys don't like check schedules and flights and days that events are happening. Yeah. Like you might go to LA thinking that there's a roast of Tom Brady on Tuesday night, and then you all of a sudden find out it's actually Sunday night.
Yes.
Something like that might happen. And I had my kids all weekend, and so I was like, in order for me to make that, I'd have to change everything. No, and I was like, fine. You just go, it's fine. Yeah. Then when I saw the event, I was like, I would have thrown the kids in the fucking overhead compartment and go.
It was
but
crazy.
Did you know that? Like going in?
I mean, I knew it's Tom Brady, so like I'm not stupid. I don't follow sports, but I'm not like when his name was announced.
Everybody. It wasn't
like
just
Kim Kardashian being there. Like I went to a rehearsal 2 days before, and I saw Kim Kardashian and Zac Efron and Robert Kraft and Yeah, I saw like the seating arrangement. I was like, oh, people are Cat Williams. Like, I was like, people are showing up to this, so this is a big deal. And I knew it would be. Like, they're always the roasts are always like, a huge deal. Kidding. But it's also Tom Brady. There's never been someone that high profile.
Right.
And it's live and it's on Netflix. Like, I just knew it was. So I worked really hard in the sense that like this is your one shot.
So you did but you knew that. That's great. Yeah.
So
well, I didn't how does that feel?
It exceeded my expectations by far because I've done these roasts before and it's been like a pop every single time. Like where you're like,
Tom Brady.
But this was insane.
Usually roasts, I feel, if I remember correctly, are either people like kind of on the downside where you're like celebrating what they did and they want to kind of stay relevant. Or I remember Hannibal Buress talking about the Justin Bieber one and he was like, congrats on this blatantly transparent attempt to curry favor with the public, you know? But this one, it's like Tom fucking Brady.
Yeah.
And technically he's like retired, but he's only just going to start his second career.
Yes.
So it's like a very weird scenario to be like, we're roasting a guy who's like forever in his prime, basically.
I don't know that we'll ever get anyone that big again.
We were saying LeBron would be next.
It would be amazing, but would he do it? I mean, it's really...
You got to be pretty secure to go up there and let people do what Tom let people do to him.
Yeah. I think there was a part of Tom...
I mean, that was rough.
It was insane
that was pretty
he did
rough.
It was awesome that he did it.
Yeah,
I don't
like,
know
it's
if in
cool.
hindsight if he would have done it, knowing what he knows now. Because I think that there's some part of people, even in me, where I'm like, they're not going to make fun of this one thing. Like, I know what their line is, but they won't go there because I don't even know if they know that's my line. I don't think he knew we were going to say he lost his family and stuff like that.
50 times in a row.
Yeah.
I think that's one of those things where you're like,
that sucks to hear.
I've been in a locker room. I've been with the guys. I have thick skin. I can take it.
He was ready,
and
but
then
not.
Kevin Hart kind of sets the tone right away where it's like, we're going to demolish your family decisions. And I wonder if a part of him was like, you know, he kept a good face on, probably because he can't move it anymore.
But he chose a good face for that day.
The one he took out of the closet and put on.
Truly.
But I wonder if a part of him on the inside was like, oh, I did not think about this at all. Like, I did not think this through at all. They're going to do this all night long.
But if that's like, you can't go into these thinking that you're going to be different than anyone else that's been roasted. And there's too much footage out there of roasts where I can't really feel sorry for these people that sign up for it. Because you watch a Greg Giraldo compilation and just think of that's exactly what's coming for you.
I feel like, again, most of the time, those guys or girls, whoever's being roasted, are not like ever quite on his level.
No.
Right? And also, like I said, still killing it.
Impervious to some of it.
I definitely think he was like, how can you make fun of me?
Because no one has.
It's like, no one has.
No one for 25, 30 years has made fun of him.
Was it you or someone else called out, I think it was you, called out leaving the first baby? Was that you?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, because as a Jets fan, for so many years, I was trying to always tear Tom down, and I was always like, does nobody care about the first Bridget Moynihan? What's going on there? And you were the only one who mentioned that, and I was like,
and I don't even care about that.
Of course not, but you know it's ammo.
I don't think someone has
He's also a great dad.
I got into
takes care of all of them.
Yeah, he's a great father. That's the thing that I'm like.
I think that's why people actually make the joke.
Yeah, I was able to joke about it because if he, I probably would have done it if he was a bad father too and had more vitriol. But I really felt bad that anyone walked away from that thinking that Tom abandoned his kids in any way, because that is not the case. Yeah, he lost his family, he lost his wife, but did he lose her, or was he happy to did she leave him?
Sure.
The story could be.
I also don't think he expected everyone to be like, yo, she fucked that jiu-jitsu guy.
Dude,
over and
I
over
know.
and over. But
I think that's the nature of these.
They're very smart. That whole camp. They have it all under control, but I do wonder if part of them was like, whoa.
Well, I've dealt with these before where the executives are scared to ask the person, hey, can we joke about this?
Yeah.
Can we joke about this?
Well, I was going to say,
because
were there guidelines?
That means someone has to go to Tom. Can people joke about you kissing your kid for too long?
Yeah.
Can people joke about you leaving Bridget Moynihan?
Nobody joked about
no
that.
one wants to say that to him, so no one checks.
There was no kid kissing.
We chose not to do that. We all were like, we're going to leave the kid alone. I mean, I had written so many jokes about it because it was like the only thing I knew about him.
I wouldn't I guess you are making fun of the kid, but
it just brings the kid into it. The kid's in middle school. It's just
But I was going the whole night. I was like, where's the kid kissing?
I know. I was wondering if anyone would feel the deficit of that, but I certainly.
You all spoke, kind of.
It just got around through producers and meetings that that's what we were going to decide collectively to do is not do that joke. Jeff Ross was the one that was like, hey, this is what we're kind of thinking, and I was like, yeah, I'm into that. I don't want to I don't want him to be offended or hurt, like, and the kid's not asking for it. But the Giselle stuff, I was even a little bit like, she doesn't want to be. She's not volunteering for this. She divorced this guy.
That's why, like, she should get half that money of whatever he got for the roast.
I think so. Like, I owe her an apology. Like, if I ever see her, I'll probably like leave the event because I'm so embarrassed of what I said about her. Like, even it's just I definitely went too hard.
I wonder how that goes because I saw like tweets the next day or the next week. I never really read anything formal about it, though. That said, like, Giselle Bündchen not happy with the roast. She's, like,
disappointed, yeah.
And, like,
which is, like,
it's like, no fucking shit. But I also wonder, like, did they even have a conversation first and say, like, hey, this might be... they might talk about. I guess it depends on how they're.
I think you really have to be delusional and think, no, they would never talk about that.
Because then it's like, what are they going to talk about, Tom? Like,
I don't.
What? There's a reson why everybody said that because there's not much else.
I think Deflategate.
You've lived a fucking perfect life
because he kind of addressed that and was like, I think you can see in his act the things that he thought he was going to come. They were going to come after him for, which was the interesting part of it is that he really, I don't think, expected a lot of. And we were all.
You
we
got
didn't
that vibe?
know
Was
what
he was like uneasy?
I just got the.
As a viewer, I didn't feel that necessarily. I wasn't looking at me squirming.
It wasn't so bad, but it was just you could just tell everyone kind of didn't know the line, and we were all kind of all over the place of what the line was. And like, I wish there would have been more communication about like, here's the types of jokes that were happening because I was finding out, days before, like, oh, we can do Aaron Hernandez. Like, I thought that would kind of be off limits. That to me was just such a tragic thing. Like, and I don't want to bring his victim's family. Like, and even he's a victim in a lot of ways because CTE is what made him even do any of that. And it's like, so it was just. But then when, I heard Julian Edelman had a joke about, him being hung or whatever. So I was like, oh, okay, so we're going to do that.
I thought he was great. I heard he, practiced it, too.
Yeah, he was at the Comedy Store, running his set.
Like, that's I really appreciate it. He had good delivery. He was doing that thing where he kept hitting the podium.
He was
and when you call him a squinty-eyed fuckboy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he totally was.
When you said Jeff Ross is pickled,
thank you, man.
Those are
those little ones that are just like so simple,
jokes, whatever.
Yes,
but those little
the simple
ones
that are just like
pickled?
Yeah. The squinty-eyed fuckboy. Like I thought there were going to be so many jokes about him being squinty-eyed.
I mean, you can't see his eyes. It's crazy.
They're like so I thought it would be like closed. That would be overdone at that point. So I just threw it in as like a beginner to a joke.
Yeah,
but then there was only mention of him being squinty-eyed.
Did you work that out of the club?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I went a million sets.
So you just tell the audience like this is what I'm doing for the roast.
Yeah, and like
that's cool,
explain
though, to get to see
who
that.
each person is, and
right.
Next time I'll bring pictures. I think
cool
to be
you
like
this
is what they look.
Like what we do when we do our live podcast. We just have like a computer and we have a big screen.
Yeah, but I have to. I'm doing like 5 sets a night, running from place to place. Cool. And I just holding up, being like, "This is Drew Bledsoe. This is that would be much more helpful."
He was another one who was good.
He was so good, like so cool.
Let's talk about Ben Affleck now.
Oh, that was.
I mean, we need to almost have a roast for Ben Affleck's roast of Tom Brady.
It's interesting.
Insane. That was like I was watching it from the side,
and I haven't watched it again back, like how it looked, because I don't like to watch people bomb. It's not like something that.
No.
I think even if I heard about it, I'd be like, I don't need to see that because it's.
Well, you know what? He's usually that way. He cannot watch anything cringy.
Yeah.
But he was like, "This is awesome."
It was.
He was like, because he was there, and he was like,
"I know what
this
happened.
This is crazy."
He didn't prepare.
Yeah.
He's someone who's famous enough that thinks like this is probably beneath them to do this, and so I'm just going to do a favor. It's not going to be that big of a deal.
And then
like
everyone
I've
else
done
murdered.
These things.
Everyone.
And I've had the same kind of things of like this, and then you do it, and you're like, oh, this is way bigger than I thought it would be. I was kind of phoning it in. He like had a pitch to the writers probably about like, you know what? Maybe I do an angle of like I'm mad about tweets because he's probably
that was so self-centered. Yes, he said that like, and then he mentioned himself like 1,000 times about like. He
is a bone to
pick.
The
only person who has gotten it worse than you is me, or some shit like that, or like, I'll tell you how to. It's like.
It wasn't good. And he locked into a premise that he had to do the whole thing. There was not like everyone else has joke. So if your joke bombs, you're on to the next one.
That's what he should have done. The first time when he was like, this one tweet came from Henry 12397.
Oh yeah.
Like I was like, and then there was more of that. Like he didn't feel.
That
I guess when you don't have any other
premise.
material, you just have to.
He could have though. Anyone would have been. The writers would have written.
Great.
They could have. There were so many jokes that didn't get used that could have filled up an entire set of his. That would have been amazing. But he just wanted a either they couldn't get him on the phone enough to work out something.
Yeah.
He didn't practice enough, or he just picked a bad premise and then he had to stick to it the whole time, and it didn't work right away, and so it's not going to work later.
Ever. Yeah, it's not going to get better as we go.
We gave him the benefit of the doubt because he's Ben Affleck, but
so are there writers
on the
from
roast.
Netflix?
Yeah, the roast production company that's putting it on hires, like, I think they probably had a team of like maybe 10 writers.
And are those
they
people
write
that have
from everyone.
They are like not famous comedians themselves.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny though? You would think, but they must be like killers, right? If they're
killers.
So
they're all like from
almost
different
like people who
writers'
like write
rooms.
songs for the people but don't sing.
Yeah, and it's they write thousands of jokes, and then
Did they perform themselves?
no, they're just in a writer's room.
So
Some of them are performers.
Is that something that's like, I'm really good at writing these, but I'm not comfortable on stage? Is that why they do that? Because
Some
I would
are
be
writers,
like, I'm going to go up there and say these fucking jokes. Fuck you.
Well, they're not on the roast. Like, they're not booked. So either you take a writing gig or like, there's a couple of the writers that I'm like, you should be up there, because I know these guys. They're roast comics and they do like the local scene and they do stuff.
Right.
But it's just they're going to take the job because it's a great job.
Right.
And it is cool to get your. I've written for people before.
Yeah,
roast,
I was gonna say,
and
I
it's
feel
like
like
feels so good to get your joke read, especially if someone that like delivers it in a way that you're like, okay, they did a great job.
Yeah, they did it justice. Yeah.
And you might not ever get like public acknowledgement for that joke, but I mean. Yeah, it would.
That part.
I'm
sucks,
too much
though.
of a narcissist to be a joke writer.
Yeah,
and
I was
to
gonna say
be on
that
a
part
set.
sucks.
I could not
I would
do
be
it.
the asshole going, "That was me. The first one was her, but the next one was mine."
I give them that right to tell their friends. Like, if anyone's written a joke for me, I'm like, you can tell everyone that you wrote it. And if in personal conversation, when people are like, "That joke I loved," I'll go, "Oh, that was blah blah blah." It's like, I'll always give them credit, but it's like it's a delicate thing, because every person on that dais used writers, every single one. Like, that's
Some
just what
people
you
admit
do.
it and some people don't.
Well, we all kind of act like we're doing it ourselves, but it's not true. And it's the same way that you can say you love, comedic actors or, Conan or Colbert.
Or whatever,
all of them have joke writers, and you go, oh, but
Sometimes I forget about that when I'm trying to do my shit, and I'm like, I'm just doing this by my goddamn self.
You have to,
and everyone else has a fucking team of people.
It's amazing to ask for help, because what I found is that I get jokes sent to me. It gets me being like, I want to beat these,
right?
Like, because I don't want to use other people's jokes. But then sometimes I'm like,
this is just the best joke.
I have great style when it comes to picking jokes. Like, I get sent a page of jokes, and I have I'm going to bring a delivery to that. Like, people don't really begrudge people when they don't write their own music. I mean, yes, some people go, oh, she doesn't really, but we still enjoy it.
It depends on, like, I do. So I feel like there's a lot of parallels between rap and comedy. And I feel like in rap, when you don't write your own rhymes, that becomes a thing. Look at
I'm sure.
Drake.
Yeah.
And I feel like in comedy, that's a thing as well. Where,
yes.
But
stand-up is different than roast.
Yes, I was going to say, if you don't write your own stand-up routine, you get fucking like blackballed, right?
Yeah.
Or at least you get like clowned by the industry or whatever,
Yes.
Right. Everybody kind of knows, and it's like annoying that the public doesn't know. But then it comes to roasts, that rule goes away.
That rule, because it's
like, let's just
because
get
I
this
am writing
guy.
my own material. Like, there's the jokes. I wrote many of my jokes, and so it's like, and it's like nice to have a collaborative process. And I got too much stuff going on that I can't write jokes all day. It is a full-time job writing jokes. It's really, and if you want to have the best set possible, you got to ask for help. Like, I wouldn't host the Oscars and go, I'm going to write my own monologue.
Yeah, no fucking way.
But
do you have those same writers for your set? Your regular? Like
no,
your special?
No.
Your special's full of you.
I am now going to do the thing where I'm just so disorganized with my set. Like, I don't write anything down. It's all from memory.
Really?
And
You're like the
and
Jay-Z of comedy.
Well, when I get to the point where I have to put together a special, I go, oh, fuck. Like, I have to start writing it down, and so many things disappear because you just forget them. So it started yesterday. I decided to, like, because it was such a rewarding process working with writers on this roast joke. And then when you succeed, it's like, if you feel like you have a family that's all like rooting for you, like it was just so much more fun working with people and making the jokes that I wrote better, making the jokes that they wrote better. And so I'm going to bring a writer on the road with me just to keep track of all my jokes, and like afterwards just like talk about stuff, and because jokes get so much better when you workshop them.
Yeah.
Like a song, Taylor Swift writes all her own music, but she's still producing with people.
Right.
It's just pretty much hiring a producer that has the ability to write.
What I'm doing for this guy, and I'll say this because he's never going to listen to this episode, but on his birthday this year, I'm going to give him, me and our other producer, Pavs, I've been writing down everything he says on the podcast that I think is a great premise for stand-up comedy.
Yes.
And
That's
I'm just
so
gonna,
great.
for your birthday this year, like here is, I mean, I probably got like a couple dozen of them right now.
Amazing.
Because I think he would be great at it. He's doing a sketch show now, and he's like coming out kind of. He's like we found out he's like an actor, and he's like getting the comedy like that. And it's like I think he doesn't even realize he says shit on a podcast off the cuff that I'm like, that was the funniest joke I've heard in a long time. And I've been watching specials, and I've been watching this and this and that. It's like if you knew that, and you know, here it is. Now punch it up and write it out. And
that's so much of the work is like paying attention and writing the things down and working on it later. Like the people that are best at this are really those people that do that. So I realized after this roast, I was like, oh, I killed because I like asked for help and I took it so seriously. With stand up, I'm just like, I'll just go on stage and do it. It always works out. But this, I was like, you can like, I need to implement this amount I worked on the roast for everything in my life.
Yeah, I mean, then
it was
think
fun
about it. Then
too.
You fucking murder it.
And it was just like it's more. And ultimately, I don't know. I really am okay with being like, I curated this thing, and I delivered it. And
a skill as well, by the way. Like it's,
and I still am writing the jokes too.
Right.
So it's just it doesn't feel like it takes away anything to involve other people.
I've always said that about this job.
And you get to give your friends jobs.
Well, for me, like I know in my friend group guys that are way funnier than me, and kind of the ones that did cultivate all of our jokes and our sayings and all that. But I was just the internet nerd who would like put it in a blog and write it and do social media and all that. And
I'm like, so the same way.
If you guys did it, you probably would have this job, but you didn't. You know,
I'm good at paying attention to what is funny. I know what is funny.
Yes.
More like that's really my skill.
Right. It just jumps out. Like that was good.
I am really good at being like that. Write that down, and so I can do it for myself when I'm funny. But like, I feel the same way. Like my friends are so fucking funny, and they're just she's a Pilates instructor, and I'm like, can I have that? And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything with it, but that's a talent. Knowing
to know that,
and then I take this little thing she said and sculpt it into something that actually is a joke.
I mean,
so
that is a talent. That
it is,
need, you know?
And it's it's hard for me sometimes because you want to be someone who just like writes all their own stuff, and I do. Like my stand up is 99.9999 me, but roasts are a thing where it's like, okay, it's other people's jokes sometimes, and you feel like, can I take credit for this? And it's just like, yes. If
this is the system,
if late night hosts can take credit for being funny,
right?
When they have a whole writing staff,
like sports.
then yes,
it's like
you can
be
bitch.
Naturally athletic, but if you don't like put the work in and know how to do
and
it,
have a trainer and a masseuse and a coach, and like you need help. And I think in comedy and probably in rapping, which I would not even be mad if like my favorite rap artists like ask for help, because when you're starting out, you have all the time in the world to work on your raps all day long, but then you're doing press all day,
right?
And
you're doing
hair
tours,
and makeup,
you're doing
and you're in the studio, like it's it's a lot of work.
I also feel like you when you're young and you're hungry and you're coming up, you have your view of life, whether it's comedy or rap, and it's like now you might be rich, you might be you might have wife and kids, you might have this, that, the other, and it's like you can still, get that perspective from other people, or still, do that. But I mean, like Drake is a guy who everybody always gives him shit for not writing his own records, or he has like a reference record where someone else, it leaks like this is his song, but someone else was singing it first.
Okay,
and it's like so you can hear the hook, and this is how it's supposed to be, and all that.
Oh, right,
and like. Everybody who makes it to his level, like pop star level, like they all do it.
They all do
but
it.
He got like caught, and they hammered that, and now I'm sure he wishes he thinks that was all they were talking about.
Yeah, no kidding.
That is brutal.
It's rough, but like it all comes out eventually, does it?
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, I don't think.
I'm sure there's people that get away with it until they,
You know what I think is funny? But I think he said on one of his responses to Kendrick, "I'm not a pedophile. I'm too." If I'm so rich and famous now, I would have been caught by now, which is like, I think so dumb and ignorant that it almost proves that he's like, we all know now that it's the people who are rich and powerful that hide it. But if you were like a little kid, you'd be like, oh, a famous person would get caught right away. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
So him saying that, I think is almost like, you're so fucking dumb to say that I think you're not doing it.
That you're not. Oh, that's interesting.
Because the first line of logic would be, if you're in the spotlight in the public eye all the time, you could never get away with this.
Right.
And now we've learned that that's
exactly how you get away
with
it.
But someone saying that is like, Yo, dude.
Yeah,
now,
like how have you not heard about the rings?
Be like you're intentionally being obtuse, or you're just like
right.
actually innocent.
And I mean, I do think that I think there is legally a different term from being attracted to 16-year-olds versus 7-year-olds.
Right.
And I think that's the area we're getting into.
You're a creep.
Yeah.
You like young girls.
Yeah.
You're like pedophile is a whole other ballgame. It used to mean something in this country when you called someone a pedophile.
Yeah.
I called a guy a pedophile in 2010, let's call it.
Oh, cool.
And we almost like lost the entire company because he was dead ass right in his lawsuit for defamation. I said it was a guy in Jersey City. He said he bought a lottery ticket and then he said I lost it, but I did win. I had the numbers, so give me the money. That was the blog. I was writing about that, and this guy looked so creepy. And I made the title, Jersey City Pedophile.
Jesus.
Fights. Yeah, like I didn't even leave any room. This is back in the day where we were just fucking slam.
Yeah.
But the very first, so the headline said that, and the very first line of the blog said, just kidding, he's not actually a pedophile, but he does look like one, right?
Yeah.
And if I had put that in the title, it would have been fine.
Fine.
But
Holy
if you don't click on it, and he sued for like $100 million.
Too much.
He waited...
Because he wants to be able to become a pedophile. With that kind of money, that's when you can start.
He waited till the last day to file the lawsuit. I think it has a 1-year statute on defamation, and he fucked up the paperwork. He sued like BarstoolSports.com when you need to sue Barstool Sports LLC or whatever it was, and it went away. But if it didn't, I remember being like, I just ruined Barstool Sports. Like this guy hired me. I was like a year in, and I was like, I just torpedoed this whole fucking thing. But
yeah, that you can't.
But my point now is that everybody calls everybody like this dude has labeled this guy a pedophile left and right, and it's like you can't say that unless you have proof.
Yeah, you really can't.
And you're gonna share the proof. It's like this is
right.
You're gonna fucking. I'm sure there were people who reached out to Drake that were like, "Hey man, I know you want to like win your battle, but you need to like make this go away because like we're Nike." And we, you know what I mean? We can't be associated with this anymore. So stop fucking talking about it. Right? Like he was so screwed. People were like, "Why aren't you addressing the allegations?" And then when he did, they were all like, "You sound crazy." Because if you make a song going, "I'm not a pedophile, I'm not a pedophile, I'm not a pedophile," you sound crazy. And if you don't talk about it, you're hiding it.
About being responding to anything is that when you respond to it, you just look so much crazier, and you like feed into it. You got it. You have to ignore it.
You have to like if you fucking nail it, you can respond. Otherwise. You just look like a weirdo.
Yeah.
And he's got to be just going through it right now.
He's had it good for a while. He'll be okay.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine.
That's what when I was going hard on Tom Brady, like a part of me, I just was like, you'll be okay.
He signed a $375 million deal. He'll be fine.
Yeah, everything's gonna be okay for these people,
right?
And yeah, there is footage of him like making out with a 17-year-old on stage.
Facts. You got to wrap 5 minutes, okay? Wait,
so
to go back to what you could and could not say. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, whether it's sports or music or stand-up or theater. Or anything, people are doing these like live premieres and Q&As and live entertainment more than ever. Podcasts, obviously, it's everywhere out there, and there's a secondary market for it. And Gametime will guarantee the lowest ticket price possible. That means up to the second technology that allows you to know when there's price changes. It could go right before first pitch or right before tip-off or right before the play starts. The price drops drastically. You can get in the building for an unimaginably low price. Or you can get expensive tickets, but you can, for the first time ever, you can get front row. Whatever you want, Gametime has you covered. So download the Gametime app, use promo code KFC, and get $20 off your first purchase. If you can find a lower price on any other service, Gametime will give you 110% of the money back of the difference between the two prices. So it's lowest price, guaranteed. Easiest tickets, guaranteed. That's the Gametime app, promo code KFC for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. All right, girls. Fair is fair. I always tell the audience to stop what they're doing and go buy Mother's Day gifts. Stop what you're doing and go buy a Father's Day gift for your man, whether it's father, your husband, whatever. Manscaped has got you covered. And I know that's going to sound a little awkward. It's going to sound awkward to buy a man in your life a manscaping kit. I wouldn't recommend you give it to your father, actually, in hindsight. Maybe this is more for your husband. But we are at the point where manscaping is a part of everyday culture. It's more the same way you clean up the back of your neck and trim your beard. You're doing that with your whole body. It's not weird, and it's a useful gift. Rather than getting him, some dumb shit that he's never going to use, some tchotchke he's going to have to put on his desk and pretend to like, or some tie or some tools, all those cliches that are real. Get him the Manscaping kit right now. It has the Lawnmower 5.0. It's got the beard trimmer, the nose trimmer, the ear trimmer. It's got all different lotions and serums to keep your skin clean. Everything you need to make sure your skin and your body is staying smooth, clean, and healthy. That's a gift that you actually can use for Father's Day. So go to manscaped.com. Use promo code KFC, and you will get 20% off your first order. Again, whether it's your husband, brothers, uncles, dads, anybody with hair that needs to trim it will appreciate it. Yeah, I know it's a little awkward, but whatever. Get over it. We need it. So go to manscaped.com, promo code KFC. Get 20% off your order and give the dads in your life an actual Father's Day gift that they will use this year. The one thing Brady stood up and went over to Jeff Ross and said, no more jokes about the hand job.
Yeah.
That was his do not talk about.
I know. Yeah.
That's fucking insane.
Because Robert Kraft is his
daddy.
It's making fun of his dad.
I know, but it's all right, you went to a fucking
It's not a big deal, but I think getting Kraft to get there that night, he probably promised him nothing was going to happen. I don't really know the facts around it, but it's
a little weird to be wife and kids, all fair game.
But this is Tom Brady. This is why Gisele's no longer. He puts football above family.
Right.
So that was a clear indication
of it.
What
if you just said that? What if you just got up there and said, Tom Brady puts football above family?
I mean,
that's the joke.
I really wanted to in so many ways because it's so clear that's what
Kevin Hart
did
a really good job of that. He's you lost your wife and kids to go 8-9 for the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Yes,
bad choice, bro.
Yeah, and but that's what it takes to be Tom Brady.
Right.
You have to be that.
Yeah.
Obsessed.
And do you think he just gets a fat check to do that from Netflix?
It had to have been so good.
It's not only are you going to lend us your brand basically for 3 hours, but we're going to fucking rip you down.
20 mil?
I think he's got to be. You know what I actually bet it is? I bet you he gets a piece of it. I bet you that they're going to do the greatest roast of all time. It'll be LeBron next and Tiger.
Yeah, I think he should. He should. He cracked it open.
He's always been notorious for saying Giselle taught him, don't take money, take equity. I bet you that's what he's doing.
Okay.
Because that's the only thing that would make sense to me is
right.
A one-time check, no matter how fat it is, it's people are going to look at you a little different now. People are always going to remember the day that you got flamed for that shit.
An outsider perspective, do you think he walked away from... Do you think he looks good at the end of the day based on public response? I
think in a weird way...
For the brand.
People are not going yeah, you know what? He is a deadbeat. They're
no.
You got flamed for it.
It wasn't
it is true. But I think we also know that he takes care of his kids and all that. But
overall for his
there's
brand,
plenty of people, trust me, that
he didn't look like a loser coming off.
Not at all.
He looked cool.
But I think he's just so cool that he also gets the benefit of the doubt for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I know when people talk about my shit, there's nobody who's but he's a good dad and takes care of it. It's just your marriage fell apart. Fuck you, ha ha ha.
Oh, God.
And I think with Tom Brady, it's there is truth in that, but they're just but he's awesome. So whatever,
Yes.
But I do think there was... I don't think the public opinion changed or anything, but I do wonder if Tom Brady walked away going man, people, nobody talks to me like that. Holy shit.
No one has ever talked to him like that in 30 years.
And I'm sure he built
when you're that famous.
Okay, I'm gonna get made fun of. But then when it went this much,
I just don't think you expect it, especially when you're living in a bubble of everyone being so nice to you,
all
sycophantic, only yes men, which it's just the nature of being that famous.
Right.
You really create this delusion that no one could ever make fun of you, but that's the best thing about roast is that you can just go so hard. The thing I love about it is that in the aftermath, if you would have I ran into some people from Netflix last night, executives, they were talking about the success of it, and I was and they go, no one's talking about how offensive it was. Really, that's not the conversation. And if you would have looked at the script, if you would have just read the script and before it taped, people would have been we can't do this.
Right.
But it's so lovely. The response afterwards has just been that was so fun and funny. But it was so offensive.
That's why I
said retarded. The F word got said a lot. The other F word,
N-words. It was all.
all of it.
That's why we were just talking before you came.
But no one's talking about it being offensive. It's so refreshing.
I can't stand Jerry Seinfeld continually saying like comedy is dead. It's like, look around. It's not. Look what just happened up there.
I'm confused about Seinfeld. What bits is he doing that he can't do everywhere? He's like,
he can do whatever the fuck
so
he wants.
clean. He works clean
right.
too.
It shouldn't affect him at all.
So I'm wondering what he can't say. I'm interested in that because I think he must have a point because he's saying it. Like he must be feeling it. But I'm wondering like what I feel like.
You're making movies about Pop-Tarts, dude.
Yeah, I'm curious about that, but I do think it was blown open the other night. Like, I'm so excited for what I'm now able to say at any time.
Right.
Now.
Yeah, I wonder if, like, now when you do your set or something, it's like, I said retarded over there, and now I'm in trouble here.
I used to have a whole bit about where I said retarded on stage, and I was really nervous about it. I was only doing it on live shows. I would never put it on a special, and I was tried to put it on this most recent special, but then I was like, I can't. It's not time. And then I started doing the retarded joke that I did about Gronkowski, and I was doing it around town, and I was like, it's so fun. I'm not going to do it on the roast, though. I can't say retarded like that. But then it was like, by the time I'd run it so much, it was like, no, this is killing too hard, and I'm gonna crack it open. I'm saying retarded. But
you know what is great about
retarded's
that?
Back, baby.
But what's better is it was not as funny as when you said me no fake money.
Yes.
So it's like you used it, but it wasn't like a crutch because you still wrote something even better.
Yes.
And I think that's the best way to do that.
That's a good point.
Stuff,
Yeah.
You're not lazy with it, but you still said it.
But it's wild to me that 3 weeks ago I was like, I could never say retarded on TV. Like that's fun. We wrote that joke, but this stays in the screen room. And then it was like, I was able to say it live on Netflix to the biggest audience ever. That's something. I know there's something probably disappointing about that to many people, but I think that's a good sign.
No, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
They're telling me we got to wrap up, but I want to know, like, so you went into it knowing what it was. Mm-hmm. You nailed it. Mm-hmm. You walk out, people are giving, Tony, and you basically are like all the talk. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's got to feel just fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
Is that the best moment of your career?
Yeah, best moment, best week of my life.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like
just everything's changed.
I wanted to do it, and I did it, and probably then some.
Yes,
and everyone's
talking
about
an
me.
Olympic balance beam routine, the level of difficulty. Yes,
it.
and almost like I'd never done it that well prior, like at practice at can she land this next thing? Like I didn't know if I could,
and you rose
and so
to the
when
occasion.
I did, it was just like. Just the best feeling ever. And then, I've said this before, but I've always done really well on the roast. Like I've always had a set where I'm like, I was top 2.
Yeah.
Like for all the roasts I've done.
Yep.
But they aren't talked about in this way that this one is, because this one was live and all the other ones are edited. So everyone rises. All the laughter is.
Everyone look good.
Everyone looks like they killed that hard. So I've never been like, why am I not standing out? That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that it could be.
No, this was immediate feedback, and it was
and
right
it was
away.
Competitive too. It was
Nikki,
like afterwards. It was like who won,
mm-hmm.
and it was like Nikki and Tony.
Yeah,
and that was. And I've never won anything in my life, so it's a great.
It's a great one. If you're going to pick the first thing to win, it's that.
It is. It is the best. I just lucked out. Sometimes, so many things I can point to in my career where I was like, wrong place, wrong time.
Yep.
Just had a bad set on the wrong night with the wrong person watching. You can a million times you can point to these moments.
Yep.
And this is just one where everything just lined up perfectly. And
it's amazing. You
it's
deserve
immense pressure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You just got to sustain it now. And
ride the wave. Ride the wave, girl. Do all the press. Do everything.
Yes. Or I just want to go away and just be like, just remember me for that.
Ride this.
I'm riding it.
You got your special out?
Yeah.
Tour dates?
I'm on tour. All new material. You can watch the special on HBO. It's the number 2 streaming movie on HBO. It's the best special they've ever had.
Wow.
In terms of people watching. So people are fucking loving it. It's called Someday You'll Die. It came out just the Saturday after the roast. Yeah. And so check that out. But if you watch that and then you want to come see me on tour, I have all new material.
Great.
So I'm on tour.
God damn.
So many cities coming up everywhere. Do a residency in Vegas with David Spade at the Venetian. But I have a bunch of solo tour dates, nikkiglaser.com. And then I have a podcast twice a week called Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Where are you living?
St. Louis.
And you have a residency in Vegas?
Like a semi, like it's like every couple months we do a weekend together. So I don't even know what to call it, but
got it.
We have
all right, Nikki Glaser, everybody. You're great.
Thank you. You're great.